Hello everyone, this week we are in Parashat Hayei Sarah, the life of Sarah. What is this Parashat talking about? That she passed away, she died. So it's a weird way to describe somebody's death by telling that he lived. However, this is exactly what this week is about. It's about paradoxes, it's about conflicts of logical concepts, and that's what we need. What is this parasha about? The story itself is about that Sarah, the wife of Abraham, the mother of Isaac, she passed away. However, as we said, the name of the parasha is the life of Sarah. Now, we have to understand that every parasha, every week, has a message. And this message is double-layered message. One message is to teach us that whatever you see and you experience with your logic has nothing to do with reality, and life is about reading in between the lines. The same way we teach our brains to read the Torah in between the lines and not to look at what it looks like, but to look what is behind the appearance. Same way we have to look at life. That's one message. The other message is that every parasha, every story in the Torah, when we read that story, during that time in the year that it's the time to read that story, the sages decided this is the time to read that parasha, it is because in this week we would need the understanding, the power, the solutions that are in this week. As it says, Kadma Refuah Lamaka, that God always prepares the remedy before the disease takes place. Which means we create the diseases, because we are the ones that separate ourselves from the Creator Himself. However, every time we make a disease, the Creator Himself already created a remedy for that disease. And where is the remedy? It's hidden in the Torah. So, the parasha itself speaks about that Sarah lived 127 years, passed away. It doesn't say, she says she lived, and then she says she passed away in Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron. And then Abraham goes to the dwellers, the people of Hebron, is asking to buy the Cave of Machpelah as a burial place for his wife and his family. That story can be very short, take few days, which means till he buries it, but it becomes longer. How long? We still, 4,000 years later, this place, Marat Machpelah, the Cave of Machpelah in Hebron, is still one of the major religious centers in the world. Now, how can somebody be so powerful to be able to inject such consciousness in an action that it affects his offspring 4,000 years later? Matter of fact, Abraham's sons, Yitzchak, Isaac and Ishmael, both are holding the property 4,000 years later. Who can make such a real estate deal that he is certain that 4,000 years from the making of the deal, his children are still going to hold the property? That's eternity. The discussion, the way the Zohar explains it, is very unusual. It says that when Abraham is bringing Sarah to burial, he buries her in the cave, and Adam and Eve that are buried in the same cave get up. They get up from their burial place and leave the cave saying, we're not worthy to be buried next to such a righteous woman. Abraham runs after them, and after a while is convincing Adam to come back and to lie down back in his grave. He cannot convince Eve. She is persistent, she's not coming back. She's not worthy to be buried next to such a righteous, positive woman like Sarah, that she fixed so much of what Eve destroyed. So when Abraham is helpless and he can't deal with Eve, Chava, The Zohar says Sarah gets out of her grave, and she's coming out of the cave, and she's convincing Eve to come back. Is that sounds like Eastern or Mid-Eastern fantasy? How can you take such a story? And the answer is that this parasha is about the illogical, which is becoming the immortal. What does that mean? The Parashat, the Zohar, brings us after these like all kinds of few illogical stories, like Jonah and the fish and the whale. The fish died, came back to life again. Illogical, inconceivable, impossible to understand. However, when we learn about this parasha, the Zohar speaks a lot about resurrection. Now, can we understand the terminology of resurrection of the dead logically? No, we can't. It's impossible. However, the Zohar talks a lot about it. And the Zohar explains to us that life is about resurrection because we die almost every day. Every time we are disappointed, we're hurt, we're upset, we die a little bit. Every time agony, pain, negativity overcomes us, even for a minute, we experience death. Life is about the ability to resurrect ourselves, to be able to say, I fell, I made a mistake, to get up and start all over again like nothing happened. That takes a lot of power. But that's what life is about. Because people that succumb to death, which means they allow death to control them, every time it happens, they're not alive anymore. They're cynical, they're upset, they're negative, they're not friendly, they're not happy. Why? It will never be as it used to be. A loss is a loss. That's not life, it's a cumulative death. The learning of this parasha, reading the Zohar, studying in our sight, listening to more and more study about this parasha is about one thing: to give us the ability to turn death into life and to create the resurrection, which is the secret of real, fulfilling, happy life. The parasha goes on into finding a wife to Isaac. Whoever is not married knows what does it mean to be or to have that state of anxiety. What if I can't find my soulmate? The ones who are married have many times this thought, what if I'm married to the wrong person? This is death by itself. It can kill the person's ability to live and to be happy. The parasha is giving us the ability to create the energy that allows life to come into our lives, and then to find our soulmate, which is a totally illogical process. How would I know? And to understand that, you have to study some more. But this is a very powerful week. Good luck to everyone. Find life, find your soulmate, find everything you need, and remember, do not follow the logic, because it's not there. Have a great week.